But we're all about standards and values here at Smacking Off.
I'm the great smack talker on the fucking face of the earth right now.
You're just jealous of my shine.
Today's in there tripping on acid, man. This is going to be a great episode.
I try to do my part, guys.
SEC Player of the Year, bro. Come on, that's like being the smartest kid in your special ed class. Bro, ain't nobody take that seriously.
Are you pooping?
I believe that's what they call
You're
it.
pooping. I don't hear pee sounds, dude. You're making...
Those Iowa beats your goddamn brains out.
No, USC is far better than Oklahoma historically.
Don't be ridiculous right now.
You fucking talking.
What the fuck are you saying about the SEC, Jeff?
Dude, whatever you're smoking, buy a ton of it.
Meatloaf is moist as my pussy gets. I promise you that.
Jesus Christ, that hurt. I'm still going to have it.
Smacking off the podcast.
Bro, I'm gonna be a SoundCloud rapper, bro.
That is the best thing you've ever said on this show. And welcome back to Smacking Off the Podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Madden. I'm joined with my co-host and producer, Mr. Doug Phillips. How you doing, Doug?
I'm good.
We're going to talk about some games tonight. We're joined with our dear friend and contributor to the show, Mr. Bob Arthur. How you doing, Bob?
Howdy.
What's up, man? Kentucky Wildcats looking good these days. Got a big game this weekend.
Oh, yeah, it's a huge game. It's got incredible implications. Matter of fact, it's got implications across the whole college football playoff landscape.
Absolutely.
If Kentucky can beat Georgia, do you think they have the stones to handle Alabama in the SEC championship?
Well,
a boy can dream, right?
How much will that game matter if Kentucky don't win out the rest of the way? I mean, they still have to beat Tennessee, which should be a tough matchup. It'll be an emotional matchup for the Volunteers. And then you have to have one cupcake in Middle Tennessee State, and then you have Louisville, right?
Which they should handle Louisville.
Louisville's terrible.
Yeah, they really are.
But here's what I think. If Alabama and Kentucky meets in the SEC championship, it's going to be the toughest defense that Alabama's faced all year.
True.
I've been watching Alabama for a while, and obviously they're incredible. And if you look at their offense, it's a timing offense, right? I mean, they know Tua knows where everybody's going to be. And even when they run the ball, there's a certain timing to it and a certain speed and rhythm. Even though they're using the clock, they're not really milking the clock. I'd say you can almost set your watch by the play clock between every play.
Yeah.
If you look at that, a team that's capable of throwing Alabama off its timing might cause them some problems. And the second thing is, you got to have the football to score, right? I mean, you can steal the football at the interception or so on and so forth. But if the time of possession, let's say Alabama and Kentucky did meet, it's obvious that Alabama is more talented at every position, in the depth. They have more coaching. I mean, everything's going their way in that game. But if Kentucky holds the ball for 38 minutes and it's a 14-10 ball game with 5 minutes left, all bets are off.
Yeah, Alabama this season is not. They've not had a huge time of possession per game. Of course, they haven't really needed it.
Well, no,
because they score very quick.
They score fast. Yes.
They score very fast.
It's actually impacting their defense because it's putting their defense on the field more than
a lot more than they should be. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know that they're one of the best teams I ever saw. I mean, it's amazing, right? But nobody's really throwing them off the rhythm. I believe that Alabama most likely wins that game. Anybody with good sense thinks that, right? But the reason that UK has a chance in every game is because that they control the clock, they control the tempo, and then the other team gets frustrated and they come in and they find out that UK has a secondary, right?
Right.
Right. Wow, Drew Lock is supposed to be the highest producing quarterback in the SEC. 3 and outs. 8 3 and outs against Kentucky in the Missouri game in the second half. Right? No first downs whatsoever. Held him under 200 yards. Hard as it is to believe, Kentucky's quarterback actually had more yards in that game than Missouri's did.
Wow.
And Kentucky's quarterback may be the worst quarterback in the SEC. Right? So you're looking at this and you're thinking with Georgia. Georgia's proven susceptible to the run. UK likes to run. Here's the dream scenario for UK fans, right? You know, you can't say that we're going to go out here and beat Georgia. You can't, anybody in the right mind is not going to say, oh, UK's just going to beat Georgia and it's going to be easy. No, it has to be some kind of miraculous finish or tough game. But let's say that happens. All right, so here's at least two scenarios. One is LSU beats Alabama, and UK plays LSU in the SEC championship game, right? At that point, the whole college football playoff program is completely screwed.
Yeah,
right?
true.
At that point, you have to decide whether there's going to be two SEC teams in the college football playoff, and if so, which ones are they going to be?
I mean, if they were held tomorrow, right now it would be Alabama and LSU.
I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying if Kentucky wins out and LSU wins, that's just one of two scenarios I'm going to talk about. In that case, if LSU and Kentucky meets in the college football playoff and UK beats LSU, which I think they can and will if they get the chance, right? In that case,
I don't think that Kentucky's going to be lucky enough to get LSU there, but go ahead.
It's possible, though. I'm just talking about possible scenarios, right? If that happens, then UK would be probably the 3 seed in the college football playoff, right? And Alabama would probably be the 4 seed, right? So let's say that Kentucky beats Georgia and Alabama beats LSU. Well, the most likely scenario is that Alabama beats Kentucky and thrashes them utterly, right? That's the most likely scenario. Not just beats Kentucky, but embarrasses them. Well, our fans wouldn't really be embarrassed. For us, it'd be a great season.
Oh, it would.
But for Alabama, they would most likely crush. Well, let's say UK beat Alabama. Highly unlikely, but possible.
I've seen upsets bigger than that.
Yeah, well, Kentucky and Alabama, there's not a good matchup for each other. Neither one of them's a good matchup for each other.
Right.
It'd be an ugly game. It'd be ugly to watch. You'd have to love college football to watch that game, right? And let's say that UK won that game. It'd have to be a score of like 24-22, which is my prediction, by the way, for the Georgia-Kentucky game.
Wow.
UK wins 24-22. But anyway, that'd be the kind of score you'd have. If UK wins that game, is Alabama still in the college football playoffs? So at that point, you can still have 2 SEC teams.
Alabama's not gonna be able to lose heading into the playoffs. If they lose, they're going to get left out.
I don't think so. I think if the only loss they have is to somebody like UK in the SEC championship game, that they're still in the college football playoffs. Now, at that point, if Kentucky beats Georgia on Saturday, UK becomes America's team. You all realize that, right?
This is true. Yeah. I mean, that's a Cinderella story to end all Cinderella stories.
Just about there now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But some of them don't want to talk about it. Stephen A. Smith don't want to talk about it. He had guys on his show today. Will Kane had guys on his show today. They were talking college football playoff scenarios, and none of them wanted to mention Kentucky. None of them would have their name associated with any predictions to do with that. But
that'll change next week if Kentucky's able to squeak one out against UGA.
Yeah, well, then they'll have to talk about it. But you've got guys like Trey Wingo and Mike Gullick who are rooting for it to happen. They don't know for sure that it will happen, but they're rooting for it.
I'm rooting for Kentucky in this game.
There's no doubt.
That would be freaking awesome.
There's no doubt. So you got Kentucky 24-22 against Georgia?
Over Georgia, yeah.
Hey, let's talk about a few other games, Bob.
All right.
We got Will Greer in West Virginia headed over to the once great Longhorns of Texas.
Yeah.
I think Texas is kind of like Miami was last year. I think Miami caught enough lightning in the bottle to be considered for the college football playoff at one point, and they were a year ahead of schedule. And that's kind of the way I see Texas, right? They lost the.
Well, you'd say they'd be a year ahead of schedule, but Miami's kind of rather mediocre at the moment.
Well, I'm talking about last year, not this year.
Oh yeah. Well,
here's a real problematic stat here, real quick. We know how Will Greer is when he gets hot. Texas is 90th against the pass.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So West Virginia comes in to Texas. They got a quarterback that's hot. Neither one. They both got a good defense by Big 12 standards, anyway, right? But they can't really stop anybody that matters. So you got them two teams playing each other. You'd say Texas has a home edge, but I believe Texas will be tight because they know they've got to win this game. It's a must-win game for them to be relevant in terms of the Big 12 championship. I feel if Texas wins the West Virginia game, wins out, then the Big 12 is out of college football playoffs.
Now, how bad can Will Greer be, though? At Iowa State, he was held to 11 of 15 for 100 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, a QBR of 16.6, which is, man, that is that's off the charts, below the charts.
Yeah,
I'll put that on the coaching though, because actually I watched that game, and coaching didn't even try to establish the run, and when they did, it was always out of the shotgun. Right?
Definitely a bad plan. Yeah, they look terrible.
Yeah, and it was like they was trying to showcase Will Greer on national television, but they put the whole thing on his hands and didn't give him any run game or anything like that. They didn't want to trick anybody. They kind of remind me of Auburn's play calling. You almost knew what they was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
They was running them trips to one side and try to, pick a guy off. They was running pick play. So basically, what West Virginia's wide receivers matched up against Texas or any other dominant Big 12 style school, they don't win any one-on-one matchups. It has to be done with trickery and scheme, right? These teams play each other every year. I've got Texas 30-21.
First the Pac-Man eats through a maze of dots. Then the Pac-Man heads for the corner spots. Then he eats his fill of a power pill. And then all those ghosts turn blue. Boo! And Pac-Man eats them all too.
Only Atari makes the Pac-Man home video game, and you can only play it on an Atari video game system.
And he played Atari today.
Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenshannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team.
Penn State going to Michigan, and this definitely has CFP implications.
Big game.
Because Michigan really is the top team in the Big right now, as far as CFP perspectives.
Bad as I hate Michigan, I'm going to have to give them some credit. They're only allowed 2.7 yards per rush.
Oh my God, they are good.
Yeah, their defense is just phenomenal this year.
Yeah.
And then of course it doesn't hurt that Shea Patterson has finally really kind of figured out that Michigan offense.
It's clicking.
It's really, they're balling, man. I hate to admit it that they're balling. Booger's got him a team.
I'm almost sure they're allowing less than 200 yards per game passing wise too, and they've got a solid run game, a good defense, a quarterback that can come through when he has to, especially if it's based off the running game. Harbaugh's hungry. He knows he's on the hot seat. But the Big Ten is wacky, right? Mm-hmm. I'm thinking they're going to beat this game or win this game, beat Penn State, that is. But it's going to be ugly. I'd say like 28-27, kind of ugly. And I just don't believe that Penn State has what it takes to win close games in the end.
So you think that Penn State takes it to the brink and just takes a big dump on the field like they do in these kind of games?
Yes, absolutely. But that don't mean that doesn't put Michigan in the college football playoff. They're still going to play Ohio State, right?
Right.
Where's that game at? Is that game at College Station or not?
No. I believe that's in Michigan, but let me check real quick.
A horseshoe. That's what I was trying to say.
The horseshoe, he says.
I believe
Ohio Stadium, the horseshoe, Columbus, Ohio. You ever been to Columbus, Ohio? It's one of the worst places you ever been.
I've never been to Columbus. I used to live right outside of Akron, in a little town called Cuyahoga Falls, when I was a kid.
I know where that's at. I've waited.
It's almost damn near toward Canada. It's way on up there.
Cleveland. It's close to Cleveland too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that area real well. And but Columbus sucks pretty bad. Ohio State needs their football. That's all they got. It's kind of like us hillbillies in UK basketball.
That's where Mike Gibbs lives, isn't it? Doesn't he live in Columbus?
I believe so.
Yeah.
But I don't think Michigan beats Ohio State at the end of the year. I don't think this game's even going to matter, right? I think Penn State, they'll most likely beat Penn State. It'll be a tough, ugly game. And I believe Michigan wins this game, but it's not going to matter because I don't believe they'll beat Ohio State.
Wow.
I believe the Big Ten's going to be – it's going to be the most confused college football playoff you ever saw.
So you're telling me right now that UCF does have a chance?
UCF has
you fucking asshole.
Yeah. But most likely...
No, it's going to be at the Horseshoe.
Yeah.
The Horseshoe. Yeah. It's going to be at the Shoe.
The Shoe. The Horseshoe.
Yeah.
The SEC teams at Clemson and Notre Dame. But you got Notre Dame and Northwestern.
Yeah. That reminds me. That's our next game to look at.
Yes.
Notre Dame going to Northwestern, and Northwestern they're playing good enough to make this a game, I believe.
Did you see the Northwestern Kentucky bowl game last year?
No, I did not.
The one where the ref threw Benny Snell out of the game because
I remember
he wouldn't take the ref, tried to help him up, and he shrugged the ref's hands off. So I'm watching Northwestern. I'm absolutely shocked. They had an SEC-style football team with real power defense, some significant running, good ball controls, smart quarterback. So I'm sitting here thinking, well, what has Notre Dame not really faced? You know, Notre Dame has faced your Pac-10 tiles teams that try to be flashy with big-time quarterbacks and so on and so forth. They beat that. They beat Michigan. They had a little bit more – I think they had a little bit more talent on the outside than Michigan did. Their line wasn't any better than Michigan's. I mean, it was a good game. They didn't blow Michigan out. But they showed that there was a very good team at that time.
They also faced SEC powerhouse Vanderbilt, too. I can't stop talking about that one.
I was ready to get to that, right?
Yeah.
So they faced the SEC team that's in the bottom tier of the SEC, and
the cellar dweller.
Vanderbilt kept it close.
Yeah, 19-15 was the final on that one.
So just in the theme of screwing up the college football playoffs, right? I'm saying that Northwestern
19-15 or 19-14.
They beat Notre Dame this weekend, 28-24.
Oh, wow.
28-24. All right. Mark it down.
All right. Biggest game of the day. Number 1 Alabama at number, I guess we would say number 3.
Yeah, number 3, LSU.
Well, you got to pick Alabama. I mean,
I do, but you don't.
I mean, I look at LSU and in ways I'm kind of rooting for them, but I don't want to root for them. If UK wins out and faces, I'd like to see them face the best team in the nation, right? The best team in college.
Alabama definitely looks to be that.
Yeah,
but
you don't want to lose by 12 points. You want to lose by 30. I got you.
No, it's not just about that, right?
No, man.
You don't play anybody, and you're going to have a real Cinderella season. You've got to face the big bully, right?
This is true.
Cinderella story, right? Somebody beats the big bully, whether it's the ugly sisters, right? Or the mean mama, or whoever it is, right?
Which would be sweeter, I would think, for Kentucky fans because, you know, Kentucky and Alabama have had a storied history. They played each other quite a few times, and, of course, the outcome's rather lopsided.
It is rather lopsided, even though I think not the last time they played, but the time before that, it might have been 97 that UK won.
Yeah, I remember that. I actually, that was the last game I purchased on pay-per-view.
So you look at this.
Thank God for
Cody. If you're somebody in the SEC championship and you're trying to make a statement, a Cinderella story, if you're trying to drag a program up into being something, then you got to play the big boy. So I want to see Alabama. So anyway it goes, X's and O's, heartfelt stuff. You got to believe that Alabama's going to beat LSU, right? And
how's it going to go down?
How's it going to go down? I think it's going to be like 38-23 Alabama.
Do you think that Tua gets his first interception of the year?
If this is the one team that can do it, that's the one thing I'm most interested in this game. Yep. LSU is the best defense that Alabama's faced at this point.
Bob, on that note, we're going to have to run because we've got one more segment. But, man, we broke these games down. We made these games our bitch. That's what we just did.
It's a winner.
We sure did.
Sounds like a winner. I appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
Take care, man.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock.
It's almost time, kids. The clock is ticking. Be in front of your TV sets for the Horathon. And remember the big giveaway at 9. Don't miss it. And don't forget to wear your masks. The clock is ticking. It's almost time.
Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy, happy Halloween, Silver Shamrock. Happy, happy Halloween, Halloween. stand by.
Smacking Off invites you to join us on the podcast. If you have an opinion on an upcoming game, some commentary on your conference, or want to roll with one of your fellow smackers on air, hit us up. You can message us at the Smacking Off or X's and O's Facebook pages, email me at maddenShannon@toothfairy.com, or call us on the Smack line, 304-508-BAIT. And as always, fuck your team.
Please welcome Chris Scully to Smacking Off the podcast.
What up?
What up? What's going on, guys?
We got a big Michigan Penn State game, and now we've got a Michigan.
Know.
Yep, and we don't have no Michigan rep.
Sad. It's going to take a second to see the LSU Alabama game, but I think it's going to be a Big Ten Classic battle.
Man, this has got to be the best weekend so far. This weekend has the most meaningful games of the year. Do you agree?
Oh yeah. I mean, Alabama LSU game. I mean, is Alabama beatable? That's the big question.
Well, we're going to find out Saturday.
I think the truth is we really don't know, because Alabama really has not played anybody. That's a true story.
Not of this caliber, no. I mean, and LSU's playing the best football that LSU played, since Les Miles left.
Well, that what's his name? White is out for the game. That kind of hurts LSU in a way.
It does. It's definitely gonna tip the scales as far as the first half goes. It's going to be interesting to see how much of an impact he's going to make in the second half.
See, the problem is Alabama. If they get an edge in the first half, a lot of times Alabama wins their games in the first half.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's gonna. I think we're gonna see. I think we're probably gonna see more too this in this game than we've seen.
You're gonna see him play in the fourth quarter. Yeah, most definitely.
If it's close now, if they're strangely enough, and stranger things have happened. If Alabama comes out and balls in the first half so hard, they may ease up a little bit on the second half. I don't know.
Yeah. To be honest with you, the way Alabama's been playing, granted, they haven't really played anybody and proven themselves, but your strategy would have to have Alabama beat themselves. You would have to find a way to make them play under their potential and make mistakes, mental errors, but I don't know. That's pretty hard to do.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna come down to turnovers, and LSU has created quite a few turnovers this season, so that's the one stat as an Alabama fan that concerns me, at least. That and the fact that Tua has not thrown an interception yet, and that is going to probably be subject to change this weekend. Probably so. If he's able to leave out of that game unscathed and there are no interceptions thrown, Alabama should win handily.
Well, let's talk about the big game though on your radar.
Yeah, because man, this is a huge game. Penn State versus Michigan.
It's for Michigan. It's a chance to make a statement that there are the best of the Big Ten East and have a really good shot at beating Ohio State this year, because they'll probably be riding the momentum. But for Penn State, I think beating Michigan would definitely salvage their season.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to lose to Ohio State 2 years in a row by 1 point to anybody is devastating. I mean, it's just so close. You want to taste it.
You can taste it, yeah.
How to reach. And then go turn around and lose to MSU, Sparty. But Penn State had a lot of mental errors and breakdowns in that game. I believe that really Penn State beat themselves more than Michigan State beat them. Look, Michigan State had the number one rushing defense in the country. It was like 33.5 yards per game, and Penn State rushed for 202. Look at when Penn State's defense stopped them on 4th and goal, and then we get a unsportsmanlike penalty because the guy, one of our players was trying to get up and he kicked the Michigan State player, and bam, gave him another 4 chances to score. So yeah, that was just a big example of how Penn State beat themselves that game. And plus, we lead the nation in drop passes. I think like last time I checked, I think this was before Iowa, it was like 29 drop passes for over 400 total total offensive yards. That hurts.
Yeah.
So, but as far as the game, I think a blowout would be very, very highly unlikely for either both Penn State and Michigan.
Well, it's like you said it's like you said on the thread when we were going live. Nobody has beaten Penn State by more than 5 in two.
Yeah, I think
two
our
seasons.
largest margin was 5 points. I could be wrong; it might be 6, but nope. Like I was telling, some guys at work, I said Penn State has not been dominated by any team in the last 2 years. So, with that said, in the podcast beginning of the season, I told you our Michigan game was the game that worries me the most. Can Penn State go into hostile territory? And
what's the betting line on that, Chris?
Well, you know what? I was surprised. I saw it was 10.5. I don't know exactly what it is now, but I was a little shocked that it was that high. I was actually thinking somewhere around 6, maybe 7.
No, actually, it's Michigan by 10. That's from the betting service that we selected.
But that was like day one. That was Monday. So
yes, and
by today it could be down.
No, yeah, I haven't checked the line since Monday morning, but Sunday morning. Here's the thing: Michigan really, really hasn't. I looked at both our team schedules, and I would have to say, as far as the game, Penn State had the tougher schedule. We already played Ohio State.
Right.
We barely lost that game, and then that Michigan State game. You got to remember that was right after the Ohio State game.
Right. Ohio State cost you a second game there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to depend on Penn State's end which team shows up. Now, if the Penn State team that beat Pitt shows up, Michigan might take the L, but if we go on continuing to making mental errors, dropping passes, penalties have killed us more this year than I think in the last 5 years. Haven't seen Penn State do this many penalties in a game, and that cost you. Now, as far as Michigan, their defense is stout. There's no doubt in my mind. I've watched some of their game here. They have a tough defense, but then again, who have they played?
Notre Dame, and they lost.
Exactly.
And Notre Dame did not have the guy under center that they've got now. Notre Dame was definitely not the team then that they are now. Of course, Michigan isn't either. Michigan has improved as well.
Yeah, Michigan has improved, particularly on offense. I guess that's my question to you is which quarterback going to have a better day, McSorley or Patterson?
I'm going to throw this out here, and to be honest with you, I think McSorley will be the best quarterback to ever play in Penn State's history up to now. That boy is amazing.
Incredible athlete.
In Iowa, I think in my mind, McSorley will outshine Patterson. Just like he outshined Haskins.
True.
Haskins looked shook that whole game until the fourth quarter. If you looked at that game, you would definitely know McSorley was the better quarterback all around. But here's the thing. Can McSorley, Penn State hasn't faced a defense like that all year either, so that's going to be a tough test.
Well, now to be fair, Penn State just faced Iowa, which currently has the number 3 defense in the nation. So, there were definitely no slouch, and they were able to edge them on that game.
Right. But this one's on the road.
And then with the Penn State Michigan game, you have another, we were just talking about. You're going to have another classic offense, a good offense versus a great defense.
Big difference between Michigan and Iowa is probably on the offensive side.
I think so.
Oh, yeah.
I really do.
If you watched, I watched the whole Iowa game. Penn State's defense dominated Iowa the whole game.
Right.
And it was like, there was that pick six I think their only offensive touchdown was on that fake field goal that they put on us. So, but see, and that was the thing. Penn State's offense stuttered a lot in that game, and everybody's amazed. Penn State actually held fourth quarter leads the last two games. So, so that's a big plus going into Ann Arbor this weekend. Some confidence builder.
Well, how do you see this one going down, Chris?
To be honest with you, if Michigan allows Penn State 27 points, Penn State wins.
Okay.
Okay. If they held Penn State to under 17, Michigan wins. So my guess, I would say.
And then there's that gray area between 17 and 27?
27-25. And I say 25 is because at some point Harbaugh will go for 2 and probably get it. Keep the game that close. 27-25 Penn State.
And so Franklin leaves the field a happy man?
I hope so. He better.
And he don't try to go after a fan or anything?
Well, yeah, exactly. That was kind of like very passive aggressive.
I'm sorry, that was actually cool. And
it was.
There was people that was like, "Oh man, Franklin shouldn't have done it." You know what? Franklin was full of emotion, and it was really a bad time to try to give him some pointers.
Oh man! And you know what? If you look at that play, if Scully would have rolled out, he was done. He had 3 Ohio State defenders on him, and if our lineman would have made that key block, Sanders was gone.
Had that been right, had that worked, Franklin would have been a genius. Everybody would have been like, everybody expected McSorley to do something, and they threw something under the freaking radar and caught Ohio State off guard.
Yeah, and it just every great coach.
I didn't really believe it was that bad of a call. It just every time something doesn't work, it looks like a bad call. This is the way it is.
Exactly.
Well, and especially when you expect in that moment, I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt that McSorley's throwing the ball.
No, that was what I was up at the Penn State bar with probably about 200 people, and everybody thought, yeah, McSorley was getting the ball.
He's fixing to air it out, yeah.
Well, if this will make you feel any better, Chris, I am definitely pulling for Penn State, and I'm sure Madden will be pulling too.
Yeah, we definitely are going to need it.
Yeah, because I fucking hate Harbaugh. I'm a huge James Franklin fan, have been ever since he was at Vanderbilt. And fuck Harbaugh, and fuck Harbaugh. Yeah, so that's really all I got to say about that. That's my assessment of the whole game.
Yep.
Like I said, Michigan beats Ohio State this year. It's in the. I'll put it in the books right now. I definitely want to see Michigan beat Ohio State this year. Finally.
Well, we've heard several opinions on this tonight. Actually, the last guy was on Bob Arthur. He said the exact opposite of what you just said. He said Michigan loses at Ohio State.
Well, I can't believe Dupree didn't show up. That was kind of unlikely of him. I hope nothing bad happened to him. I messaged him this morning. And
well, if everything's all right with him, everybody point at Dupree right now.
I'm pointing.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys have a good night, man.
You too, man. Get some sleep.
Take care, brother.
Yeah. You too, brother. Bye-bye.
#Family Smack. The worst smack group ever. Look for us on Facebook and on MeWe.
If anybody loves trains, it's me, Johnny Cash. You know, if your boy's under 10 like mine is, he needs a big Lionel like this Black River Freight. Lionel also makes HO gauge trains for older kids, like this Burlington 181. But for smaller hands, the big Lionel is easier to handle and put on the track. This Christmas, get your boy a train that's built for the way young boys play. A big, rugged Lionel. Lionel, the big train for small hands.
Please welcome MacKenzzie Brooks to Smacking of the Podcast.
What's up? Mac Truck in the house.
What up, though?
You? tell us about it. How is life in now? And you live where? Are you in Des Moines?
I am in Des Moines.
Oh, okay. You're a city girl.
Sadly, yes.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. We live in Birmingham, and Birmingham's like the big city in Alabama. It's like the only big city in Alabama.
So tell us.
Not really a big city.
Before we talk about anything, we want to talk about the football league you play for.
Yeah.
So the league, I'll start with the team, I guess. The team I play for currently is called the Iowa Crush. The Iowa Crush itself has been around for almost 15 years.
Wow.
15 to 20 years. We're one of the longest running women's teams out of the women's football history. There's about 2 other teams that have been around longer than us. The New York Sharks, who actually just ended their tenure as a team.
Really?
They started a new team called the New York Wolves. Same players, just new management and different admin.
And what was wrong with Sharks? I guess, I don't know. I mean, are there sharks in New York?
I don't know. Is there bodies of water in New York? I guess.
Are there wolves in New York? I guess there are in upstate New York, but there's mud sharks in Mississippi. I can guarantee you that.
You know, I like to cause trouble. I'm what they call the Princess of Smack. I have been dubbed the Princess of Smack. I'm also the Queen of Salt, too. So any salt you may have, that's me.
Okay. I'm down with that. I can wholeheartedly agree with both of those titles.
Real quick, before I forget to ask this, what position do you play?
I'm a utility player, so I play across the board. This past season, I started out playing nose tackle, and then
utility player, is that another word for like a floater?
Yeah, pretty much. So I play O-line, D-line, linebacker, kick return. I can punt the ball. I also my main position right now is running back.
Running back as well? Holy shit.
Yeah, you should check me out. I have a whole video and everything.
Oh, you got to definitely send me a link to the video, and we got to make sure that this gets posted.
This segment is going also to go on our YouTube video as well, and we will provide all those links.
Yes, absolutely. Got to. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So, so tell us, you root for? Do you root for the Cyclones? Who you root for?
I am a Hawkeyes fan.
Oh! I'm sorry. My apologies.
It's okay. Anytime Iowa State's not playing Iowa, I do root for Iowa State. And I also need to get this off my chest right now. I am the biggest Oklahoma Sooner fan that you will find.
I knew that about you when I was actually looking for a picture of you, which I did not.
You are not an Oklahoma fan at all.
I did. I seen her in an Oklahoma jersey.
No.
So here's the deal with that. I lost a bet. So I bet a bunch of my Oklahoma Sooner fan friends that Iowa State was going to beat Oklahoma 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
I was wrong. So somebody put my face on Kyler Murray's body. And I must say, I make a really cute quarterback. Not gonna lie. I'll make a really cute quarterback.
I got to see this now.
Now there's a running joke whenever OU fans want to try to troll me. First of all, you can't troll a troll. I'm the best ever. I'm lying.
You might be. I'm not disagreeing with you.
We need to put her up against Justin Pike sometime.
They made that picture.
Or at least fake profiles.
Yeah. Landon, yeah.
There he is right there.
Yeah, Landon's in attendance. He's repping.
All right, what happened to your Hawkeyes on Saturday? Damn it.
Oh, God.
I tried to tell you.
You knew we were going to talk about this. This
and I was waiting. I was waiting for it. So here's my speculation. So other than the fact that it was poor weather conditions for like 87% of the game, the Hawkeyes, and to be honest, the Hawkeyes were projected to lose that game. I'm not going to sit here and lie. Right. That's the football player in me. That's like everything fandom put aside. The Hawkeyes were expected to lose, but I didn't think they were going to lose by so little. So from when I was just looking over like highlights of the game and watching the game, Noah Fant, who is one of the best tight ends in college football, I don't care if you agree with me or not, y'all can look him up and watch Iowa film, and then you'll have to agree with me because it's true. Noah Fant is 6'4", 280 pounds or something. He's like ungodly huge for no reason. Looks like he should be playing small forward for the Golden State Warriors. He has hands like a receiver. Him and TJ Hawkinson, who is 6'3", They're about the same size. TJ's a little bit smaller in weight. Those two are two of the best tight end combinations I've ever seen in college football since I've been able to comprehend the sport. Noah Fant is one of the only tight ends in college football who runs crisper routes than an actual wide receiver. We did not utilize him because apparently he was still in concussion protocol, and I didn't know that. They didn't start targeting him until very late in the third quarter. Very, very late in the third quarter. Nate Stanley's pocket awareness was terrible. Even I can admit that. I'm also almost 85% sure Nate Stanley either broke his thumb or sprained his thumb on his throwing hand. They were backed up into the end zone like halfway through the third quarter, and one of the linemen for Iowa, who first of all made an entirely wrong block to begin with, got back into his throwing lane. Nate Stanley released the ball and turned his hand over like normal and hit his hand square on the top of his lineman's helmet. Like, you could just see it. Like, he throws the ball and turns his hand, and his thumb just hits
Was there a
his helmet.
difference in his throwing after that?
There was a little bit after they taped it up. So they got out of the series. They taped it up. Him and Peyton Manziel, the QB2 for Iowa, they were throwing back and forth. Once he got used to the tape, he was starting to make more accurate throws, and he was just dumping it off to Noah Fant, which was what we should have been doing the entire game. But I'm not even gonna go there.
How do you feel about this trip to Purdue?
I'm feeling real confident, to be honest. It'll be interesting because we beat Ohio State last year. They beat Ohio State this year. So it'll be a clash of the two teams that have beaten Ohio State favorably. It'll be another decent Big Ten battle. It won't be as big as the Penn State game last week.
Right.
But I'm pretty sure Purdue's coming off a bye week.
No, Purdue just lost to Michigan State.
Mm-hmm.
Did they? Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think they lost by 10. It was something like 23-13. Don't quote me on that, but the score was somewhere in that neighborhood.
So beating Ohio State definitely took a little bit out of it.
Oh yeah. It does. When a team is not expected to win and they do, they're typically flat the following week.
Mm-hmm.
A team that does not used to winning. Like Purdue.
David Goliath situation. Yeah,
yep.
Yeah. Which that certainly was, and it has caused all of these host of horrible health problems for Mr. Urban Meyer.
And it's very interesting to me, to be completely honest.
No, it's not interesting for us. You realize, we've been keeping up with the SEC football for a while, and remember Urban's tenure at Florida quite well. His departure left that program in a horrible, horrible shambles. That I think Ohio State, with all of their money and resources, are going to be able to sidestep a situation like that. But it's a lot of folks don't realize it's gotten very contentious there.
I don't think that Urban deals well with stress.
No, he doesn't.
And so I don't think he's faking illnesses. I think that he's having reaction to stress. Is what it seems like.
Are you really seriously like you're going to go?
I'm not taking up for him.
You just kind of did.
No,
you so low key took up for Urban Meyer on the show. What the fuck, dude?
No, I'm just telling you he don't deal good with stress.
Well, obviously, yeah. But whatever.
It is what it is, and I don't think he'll be there next.
He doesn't deal real good with assistant coaches either. But that's another story for
that's
another
not
day.
no.
Yeah, and again, that's what's really at the heart of the matter between him and the university right now. I mean, you take away the loss to Purdue, of course, that didn't help matters much because Urban's kind of set a bit of a trend over the past few years for losing that game that he shouldn't lose in a fashion that he should not lose it in.
Well, see, and here's my thing. Is that they were starting to say the same damn thing last year when they came to Kinnick Stadium and got that ass whooped. Mm-hmm. Look, I'm just saying, okay? It was the same exact pattern. Urban Meyer and the Ohio State Buckeyes thought they were going to come in and ramrod Iowa. Clearly, they didn't. Got whooped 55-33.
And you talking about last year?
Yeah.
No, it was worse than that. It was 31. It was 31 points. I know that.
It was terrible for them.
Yep.
And For one, I have just been basking in the glory of my Iowa Hawkeyes in that win.
Well, you can take pride in this. That's what cost them the playoffs.
Oh, no two ways around it.
Hey, and it wasn't just that Iowa beat them, because I think if Iowa would have beat them close, even with 2 losses, I think they would have got in.
I think it was also the score, and we've talked about this.
It was because it was an ass whooping.
Well, and also too the ass whipping that they took in the playoffs the year prior to Clemson.
Yeah, definitely.
That was a horrible look, and then you couple that with it, and when it came time to make the selections, the committee said, we're gonna pass.
We've got a spectator right now watching the podcast that wants to know what you think of Urban, MacKenzzie.
Oh, what does Mac think of Urban Meyer?
Yeah, are you gonna buy him Christmas gifts this year?
No, the only Christmas gift he can get is a swift kick in the butt.
Yeah, he's got a few of those this year.
No, on a serious note, I think Urban Meyer in his tenure at Ohio State has been very dominant. Everybody knows that. Everybody that watches and has played football or knows about the sport knows that Urban Meyer has been one of the most dominant college football coaches on the planet, which for some of us may be unfortunate. For some of us, it may be, whatever. I think his time as a head coach, at least there, is slowly, well, not even slowly, it's drastically coming to an end, especially after being suspended for 3 games. But, and that's the thing, is I still don't quite understand that, is you get suspended for 3 games, but you're allowed to coach up until you're allowed to coach, practice, and go about your weekly stuff the entire tenure of, that suspension up until the last 24 hours, and then you can't be around the team. What's the point of suspending somebody if you're going to give them all this leniency?
Sure, Sir Isaac Newton unraveled the mysteries of gravity, but could he have unraveled the mysteries of Rubik's Cube? 3 weeks ago, Judge Smith retired to her chambers with Exhibit A, Rubik's Cube. She hasn't been seen since. Warning, once you get your hands on Rubik's Cube, you may never be able to put it down. Rubik's Cube, over 3 billion combinations, but just one solution from Ideal.
Our audio-only podcast is hosted at podcastgarden.com/podcast/smackingoff. Or find us on Google Play Music or on iTunes.
Well, and I think also, too, and it's 2018 with the technology available. Urban was definitely in the hearts, minds, and probably just about every ear of every assistant.
He was probably
games.
on
He was
on a screen over on the sideline.
He was still calling plays, regardless of whether they were. If he wasn't allowed to be in the stadium, then he was sitting out in the parking lot in a van with all sorts of computer equipment and microphones and this, that, and the other. He was still coaching that game. You bet your ass on that, because the results of those games, they kind of speak for themselves. Although the TCU game, which looked to be a very dominant win at the beginning of the season, it doesn't look so hot now.
No, it wouldn't.
Really doesn't.
Well, even with it being a win, they struggled to win.
They did.
They struggled to win the game. And like I said, anybody who knows the schematics of football and that can pick apart a game like myself, because I do that for fun.
That's your thing, yeah.
People try to troll me and be like, oh, you don't know football. Really, you should probably Google me. I don't like to speak. Most people that know me in these groups know that I'm very hard on myself, and I'm very humble, but I know the sport of football. I live and breathe it and ate it. So if you know how to break down a game correctly, you can see that TCU gave them a run for the money, regardless of what the numbers of the score was at the end of the game.
Right, and this is not a great TCU team by any stretch.
No, this is not. Yeah, they have completely collapsed.
I mean, let's put it this way: Ohio State, I'm pretty sure they played Tate Martell in that game, and Tate Martell, his last year when they gave him his first official career snap and statistic, he fumbled the damn ball and got tackled for 10-yard loss or something. So for them to have put all their investment in getting Tate Martell from Bishop Gorman High School in Las Vegas, bringing him down to Ohio, and have him sit behind JT Barrett. Now he's sitting behind Dwayne Haskins, and then you finally decide you're going to put him in the game, and he scores 2 touchdowns and rushes for one of them, and you're going to wait till now to do that? No offense, but I'm not a huge Dwayne Haskins fan. Never have been.
Right, yeah. He looked terrible against Purdue.
Oh, yeah.
So if your Hawkeyes can go to Purdue and win, they have a good shot to get to 10 wins. They really do.
See, and it's funny you mentioned that because I was just talking to a couple people at my job about this, and I was literally weighing out like who we have left on the schedule. We have Purdue this week, Northwestern next week, and we always end the regular season with Nebraska. Nebraska is coming to Kinnick Stadium. People don't realize that it's hard to play in Kinnick Stadium.
Oh no! Ohio State realizes it.
It's very hard to play, especially under the lights, and I think that's why Ohio State had such a hard time because Iowa Hawkeye fans are some of the loudest people in the college fan base. It's scary.
Y'all need like a corn trophy for that game.
Yes.
The Nebraska-Iowa game.
Yeah, there's a trophy for it. I just don't remember what it is.
There should be something corn-related.
It really needs to be a corn-related trophy.
Well, and it's funny because the Iowa State rivalry is actually it's called the Iowa Corn Cyhawk Series.
Mm-hmm.
So it's got I know the old trophy had like an ear of corn and it had Herky the Hawkeye on one side and Cy the Cyclone on the other side. And Iowa now owns that trophy for like 3 years in a row. I'm just going to throw that out there. That's like the Iowa State Super Bowl.
That was a very impressive win last year because Iowa State went on a run, beat Oklahoma and TCU back-to-back, and I think they were both top 5 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and that's what – and I was kind of surprised to see Iowa State on the top 25 playoff list tonight. Like, I was 16 and Iowa State's 24. So for everybody out there who's trying to troll me, you want to talk about I was not relevant, check the list. If your team's name is not on that list, you cannot troll me, period.
You hear that shit, guys?
Amen.
Well, we got to let you get to your podcast.
Yeah, oh, man.
Go ahead and plug your podcast before you go.
So my podcast, for those of you who don't know, is called The Gridiron Blitz. It's myself and there's 3 or 4 of us women's players and 2 huge women's football supporters. You can find the podcast itself on Blog Talk Radio or Google Play or Apple Podcast or iTunes. You can find it on any one of those 4, or you can find it, I'm pretty sure, wherever you find podcasts if you don't have a major cell phone or tablet type. We talk all things football, women's football, U.S., international women's football, college, NFL. We also, right now, the topic of discussion for the past month is the new women's semi-pro league that has just taken off. It's called the WNFC, and I'm pretty sure right now they're closing up the interview with one of the CEOs of that league. So here in about 5 minutes, I'm going to hop off of here and hop onto my own podcast. I've been sharing the links in.
You need to get us a team down here in Birmingham. We definitely need we need a team in that league in Birmingham. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Well, y'all have a team in Alabama. I just don't know what city.
I think it's Huntsville, ain't it?
It's the team that I know of is called the Alabama Fire.
Oh, okay.
Are they?
I think it is Huntsville, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think that's Birmingham based. I don't, but I'm gonna look into that.
Oh, hold on. I need to roast somebody. Sean Devine, you, sir, need to stop trying to troll somebody because you're not anybody who knows much about Iowa football or football, period, because
I beg to differ now. Sean Devine is a frequent contributor to the show.
But she said Iowa football.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, fuck you, Sean.
So I said Iowa would beat Penn State last week. Obviously, that's who I'm going to pick. That's my team. But he picked Iowa State over something because of, or he picked Penn State because of the way Iowa played Iowa State last year. If you're going to troll me or try to talk about Iowa football, you should probably learn something about Iowa football first.
Yeah,
you can't sass me. You can't give me salt. Okay.
All right, next week we're going to have Sean Devine and MacKenzzie Brooks on.
I love it. I'm ready for this.
Also, another thing before I forget, 2 weeks ago when y'all had, I think his name was Landon on, it was Landon and
Hashtag fake profiles. Landon B.
Oh, yeah, so He wants to sit there and giggle about the college coach that left to go coach a women's team. I want to see him put pads on and be hit for about 2 years, and then he can sit there and laugh about it.
Actually, I think that was
serious.
I think I was the one that you're talking about. Ole Miss's old coach. I was just joking about it being a women's league. I don't think it was.
Yeah. Well,
was it?
You're fixing to get your ass
I was about to light somebody on fire.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me, but I really didn't know what I was talking
asshole.
about. I just threw it out there. Oh, somebody said, well, what league is it? And I said it was a women's league, but I was joking.
MacKenzzie.
Okay, hold on one second.
And hey, in the joke...
Sean says, I live in Big Ten country. Iowa is a joke. Okay, see, this is how irrelevant Sean is to the sport of football and Iowa football especially. You're going to base your opinion off of what you saw 2 years ago. You should probably learn to keep up on other teams, whatever you watch. So until you can step to my level of knowledge on football, you should probably shut the hell up.
Yeah, we need to get the two of them on the show. We were like, Sean can talk some shit too. Remember we had Eric Easterwood on?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I promise you he will shit his pants after I'm done with him.
I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this matchup.
I'm not the person he wants to deal with. I will light a fire under his ass. I take this very seriously. And if he wants to sit there and say I'm getting in my feelings, he has not met me when I actually get in my feelings.
Oh, shit.
So
you don't want no part of this.
Let him talk his shit. Because next Tuesday, I'm coming for that ass. Period.
All right, Sean Devine, you've been called out officially on this show. That's what it's all about here at Smacking Off.
MacKenzzie, this was a great segment. This may be our best segment ever.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. MacKenzzie Brooks, ladies and gentlemen, give her a big hand. Thank you so much for participating, and you are coming back, I hope.
Oh, I'll be back next week. I will be taking a break from my own podcast, and I will be spending as much time on here lighting Sean Devine on fire as much as I can.
Oh, hell, that's what I'm talking about right there. Ladies and gentlemen, MacKenzzie Brooks.
See, I just need to say this again. I'm the queen of salt. I'm the princess of smack. Until you can pad up and come to Iowa and face me, you ain't shit.
Bitch.
All right.
Bitch.
All right. Hey, we appreciate it.
MacKenzzie, thank you so much.
Hey, thank you very much. Also, I posted a video of my playing running back at this past year's All-Star game. It was in Houston, Texas. I'm number 68. So I'm the big bitch running the ball like a giant bulldozer. Everybody wants to
You posted
talk
at Family
shit.
Smack?
I sure did. I posted at Family Smack, and I tagged you both in the comments in the video itself. The video was taken by Line 'em Up Video Productions. So go like their page. Everybody, if you don't have me on social media, you should probably find me. I'm almost cool.
Yeah, because you're not cool if you don't have MacKenzzie on your social media. That's for damn sure. MacKenzzie, as always, we really, really, really appreciate it. We'll see you next week.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Also, fuck a Sooner.
Find Smacking Off the podcast on YouTube at Podcast Garden, Google Play Music, and iTunes. Make sure to check out the 9 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday and Friday Facebook Live episodes at #FamilySmack.
Please subscribe to our channel by clicking the small Smacking Off icon at the top of the screen now. Click the link at the bottom of the screen to watch last week's episode.